Many people look at a lake and feel a sense of calm serenity. Crappie fishermen feel the heart-pounding anticipation of the thump. That's why host Russ Bailey is addicted to crappie fishing. It's this addiction that takes Russ from the Midwest to the Deep South in search of the best lakes, techniques, and patterns from some of the best crappie anglers in the country. Right here on BrushPile Fishing.
Here's the lake information, sponsored by Mossback Fish Habitat. Your gear and conditions, sponsored by Cornfield Fishing Gear.
All right, folks, we're ready to get started here at Buckeye Lake, just east of Columbus, Ohio. It's springtime. We've had a very cold spring, but the last 2 days have been in the 80s. I'm with this knothead, my son, Wyatt Bailey. Been trying to get him on the show for years, but you know, if you follow me on Facebook, he's a big baseball player. So his schedule and mine, it just couldn't link up to do it. So today's the first day we've actually taped together. We've done a lot of fishing together. But with that being said, I'm kind of heartbroken because he's a bass fisherman at heart, okay? So I got him to crappie fish with me today, but this kid loves wading the rivers and stuff like that. But hopefully we can get a good show and catch some nice crappie here at Buckeye. You ready to get started?
I'll be doing the catching, you can do the fishing.
What'd I say, folks? All right. What we're doing this morning, folks, we're starting out. Buckeye Lake is a lot like my home lake. It's about average 6 foot deep in most of the spots. A lot of shallow water fishing here in the spring, and the crappie fishing is really good. It's been a weird spring, cold, 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 and then all of a sudden we're in the mid 80s. So not much of a spring, really. We'll see what we can do. We're going to concentrate mainly on aluminum boat lifts. And I don't think the fish are in the rocks yet, but we may try some rocks. There we go. There's a nice fish to get us going. Oh yeah, that is a dandy crappie here in Ohio. Like I say, we have some good fish. Whoo, that's a good one to get us started. Jigs. Look at there, folks. Wyatt, what was you saying? Huh?
We'll see.
My
We'll
second
see.
flip. That's a good fish, folks. Probably about 1.25 pounds. That's a white crappie. We'll catch both today. But love Buckeye Lake. Look at that. Ooh, big dog, big dog. That fish came on the Butler Gold, which, you know, folks, I love the glow pop. It's probably my favorite color. But I'm telling you, in the last 6 months, everywhere we go, that Butler Gold is really catching fish. And I use it with a pink jig head, which I don't think a lot of people do. But I love the pink shining through that Butler Gold. A little bit cool this morning. We're in the 50s, but it's supposed to get up in the 80s pretty soon, actually. All we're doing is flipping in these lifts. If you went to any of my seminars during the winter, you know I love fishing aluminum lifts, especially in the early spring, because that water temperature is still cold. And if you take the temperature real close to those lifts, it could be 1 to 2, maybe even 3 degrees warmer than water just a couple feet away. That can make a big difference in the springtime, and it'll really hold them nice crappie. I think Wyatt's getting some bluegill bites up there.
Oh no, ain't catching nothing there.
There we go. Small one, but that's okay. Now, if I was keeping some to clean, you want to clean those 10-inch, 11-inch fish, send them big ones back. That one, not an 8-inch fish. We're gonna let that go back anyways. But again, just getting started. We've been on the water about 3 or 4 minutes, so first lift what we've come to this morning. And all we're using, there we go.
I'll switch whatever you got on.
That's that Butler Gold. You may want to switch because, man, this thing has been hot. Another smaller fish. That's okay though. Got to keep some of them too. When you get by this rail, you may get hit. Just kind of. There you go. Wyatt with his first one. He just made that switch to the Butler Gold color. It has just really been hot this spring.
Little baby.
There we go. Nice flip. I didn't think you bass fishermen could do that.
We're good at it.
Let him take it longer.
I feel like I might be a bit deep.
There we go. Oh, there's another good one. There's a good one. Come here. Look at there, folks. Whoo! Wyatt had just caught a small one, and I flipped up in there, and that's in the top part of the mouth. We talk a lot about setting a hook on these crappie. A lot of people will say, well, it's a paper mouth. You can't set a hook hard. Set it super hard. If you're jig fishing, that'll drive it right through the top part of his mouth, and he ain't going nowhere. Another good fish this morning. Wyatt, we're both catching them, but the two big girls wanted my Butler Gold this morning. If you was throwing big spinnerbait, you might be okay in your element today, huh?
Yeah.
Wyatt, flip up in there, right along them bars. Okay, there. Oh, there's a good fish. There's another good one, about a 10-inch crappie. Wyatt taking advantage of me while I'm getting my line redone here.
Ain't no rules out here.
I see how it is. All right, I think I'm back in the game, folks. But no, we were talking about hook set a few minutes ago, and you want to set the hook hard when you're crappie fishing, especially if you're jig fishing, because what that'll do is, like I talked about, it'll put it right through the top part of that crappie's mouth, and he ain't going nowhere. Tell you something else I've noticed here this morning already. Normally if I'm cork fishing, I use that like it's a real light chartreuse color. It's about all I use. But here this morning, I've got that neon green from Crappie Magnet. Man, I can see this thing easy with my eyesight. That's important. Oh, there we go.
Now I gotta tighten my
Yeah,
drag.
I heard that.
That wasn't even big.
But anyways, I like that neon green. I can see that pretty easy.
Hey, buddy.
Wyatt's trying to even up the score here. I gotta pay attention. As far as our water temperature this morning, we're looking at about 66 degrees. And a week ago, if you'd have told me we'd had 66, I'd have never believed it, because we were in the upper 40s still. But it finally is starting to warm up. Like I say, we've had a couple real hot days in a row. And when you're fishing this shallow water like we are, like right now we're in 4 foot, the surface is going to warm up pretty quick. And then, like I say, when you're close to the aluminum, and we've got a nice sunny morning, so that sun is beaming down on that aluminum, warming that up. That radiates into the water. That's why I love fishing these lifts in the springtime. And the one thing it may take some getting used to is we're using, Wyatt's got an 8-foot rod. I've got a 10.5. This is my signature series from B&M. It's designed to make little flips like that and get under stuff. And again, I've made this in the 10.5 and the 8 foot, so what you're most comfortable with. But if you go out in one morning and get just using your wrist doing this, it's an awesome technique. And my bail was open, couldn't set the hook there. But that's what this rod, it's great for vertical jigging, but mainly for flipping into areas. And you can really pinpoint, because today, so far, we've had to be like right on these rails. Well, you can pinpoint it with these rods.
Even a bass fisherman can do it.
Even a bass fisherman. There we go. Oh, there's another nice one. Not quite as big as some of the others, but it's a good one. Look at there. And I think it's safe to say that the Butler Gold color is on fire. Look at there, Joseph. I would much rather be Joe the camera guy this morning and taping instead of fishing. Not. Another good one. As far as limits here in Ohio, on most of the lakes, it's 30 per man, and we have a 9-inch limit before you can keep them. To be honest with you, 30 is a lot of fish for somebody to keep. So just take what you're going to eat, send the rest back and catch them another day, or let someone else catch them. Tell you what, this is one of my favorite lakes in Ohio. I love coming down here. When I used to tournament fish, I've won a couple tournaments here, and it's always produced super, super nice fish. We're in a spot today, it's called Heron Bay, and this to me is like heaven, because when I come in here, it's aluminum lifts everywhere, and you know how I love fishing those. But when you get into Heron Bay, you can spend all day here and just hitting lifts. But the other thing is there's wooden docks and the rocks. Here in another week or so, these crappie are going to move off the lifts into the rocks. Man, oh man, you just work any of these shorelines, cast these jigs and corks up there, and it's an awesome shallow water bite. We're not working these real quick today, just kind of flipping it out there, letting that jig settle down, and just a little pop or two on it. We've had a couple just kind of nibble, which I think are those bluegills. When the crappie have hit this morning, they've pretty much pounded it. A lot of times these fish will group by size on these lifts. You may pull up to one and catch all small ones, pull up to the next one, catch all big ones. And even the area of each lift can be different. There could be something on one corner of these lifts that's really holding these fish. So before I leave an area, man, I make sure I hit all around that lift or dock or whatever I'm fishing before I go to the next spot. Again, water temperature this morning, 66 degrees. We are fishing in about 4 foot, and I just had a bluegill pop mine. This area we're in too, what you'll see today, we'll probably leave this after we catch a few more fish, hit a few other spots, let this settle down. We'll come back here, and those fish will be right back on here active, especially when that sun starts to warm this water up a little more. And I really expect here in a couple hours we'll catch even bigger fish. And you can tell now, when we first got here, it was fast and furious, it's slowing down. You got to figure all the fish that we've caught out of here causing a lot of commotion in the water, so they'll scatter a little bit. But like I say, if we go hit a few more lifts, come back here, give this a little time to settle down, we should be able to pick them right back up. Matter of fact, I'm going to look at my live scope here, and there's fish there. You know, when I'm shallow water fishing with my live scope, I don't sit there and, target the fish or anything. I just see if they're there, and then just work my old-fashioned techniques. Oh, there we go.
It's a nice one.
Yes, he was on the outside edge. There we go. That's a big fish. Look at the mouth on that thing.
This one.
Look at there, another good one. Absolutely engulfed that jig. Gone. History. Look there. Man, these are some nice fish, and they're still not real dark for the spawn yet. Wyatt, I gotta ask, because I'm sure the people want to know, with me crappie fishing all the time, how in the heck did you get stuck on bass?
I think it's a A little bit tougher kind of fishing, you know, for the
Oh,
more
is that what it
experienced
is?
guys. Yeah.
Is that what it is? St. Clair helped out a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah. I
Folks,
just thought crappie fishing got too easy for me.
Oh gosh, cocky baseball player. Folks, we have just made our first move of the morning.
And I just had a fish.
And Wyatt missed one on the first flip. All them gills are in there. There's got to be a crappie or two. Ooh. Right there's one.
Oh, that's a hog.
Oh, doggone. That's a big fish, Wyatt. Oh. Whoo.
Wow.
Holy cow. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I just said there's got to at least be one big fish in there. That is a monster. Thanks for letting me cast in there.
Yeah.
Hey, good net job. Look at that. And again, oh, look at that. Big, 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 big. Ohio has some darn good fish. Buckeye Lake definitely does. Right there's where I came from too. There's going to be another one in there. Oh, what you got? Oh, there's another good one. Oh, you got such a drag.
Yeah, I know. It keeps coming up.
Hoist him up, hoist him up, hoist him up. Get him in, get him in. Yes. Nice
There
one,
we
Wyatt.
go. Got it.
Doggone. This is a tiny, tiny lift we're fishing. A lot of people wouldn't even fish this thing. It's so shallow and it's so small, and look what it's producing. Woo! Wyatt, you know, one of the things we talked about at that other lift was sometimes, a lot of times, those fish will group by size on lifts. When I caught that first big one, that's why I said there's got to be at least one more big one in here, because Buckeye, it's always been that way. If you find a lift that's got fish, they'll group by size a lot of times. So that was a good one, man. You caught it the very next flip. Think we can get 3 or 4 good ones out of this lift?
I hope. Oh.
And folks, again, if the cameraman can see, I just missed one. This lift is not very big, and a lot of people would overlook it because they say, well, there's not much there to even fish. Man, sometimes these can hold the best fish. But I'll tell you what, springtime, don't overlook these small aluminum lifts. Wyatt, me and you've done a lot of fishing together, but when it comes to taping shows, timing's everything. And once baseball's always started, you know, we talked about that's your schedule, and you just completed your college and your junior year, so your baseball's over, a year short. But talk about some bad luck. Your first year COVID hit, then you had to have shoulder surgery, so, but it was still fun, wasn't it?
It was still a good time.
Got to go to the Small School World Series. Now you got all this time to fish.
Good. Good, good, good.
You went to that Mardi Gras color. They call that Mardi Gras and Chartreuse. I'm sticking with the Butler Gold right now. And I'm kind of superstitious. This bait is all tore up. I have to keep putting it on the hook, but I don't want to get a new one out. You know, this lake, normally you can start coming in here and getting them in the shallows mid-April, depending on the weather. And they'll stay here till about Memorial Day or so, and then in the fall, the shallow water fishing comes back, and it's just as good as the spring. Oh, look
There's
at
a black
that.
one.
There's a male spawner. That's the first black crappie, I think, this morning.
Yep, right off that wood post.
Look how dark that fish is, folks.
Get a hold of him.
That might be the first black crappie we've caught today, Wyatt.
I just dipped right off this wood post.
Really?
Yep, I've literally just set it there and he hit it twice.
Oh. Yeah, not as big as I thought. He hit it hard, though. Another little white crappie. He's starting to turn dark, but he still ain't there. And these fish are still cold to the touch, so There's some good fishing yet to come here at Buckeye. You know, I talked earlier, we're not putting a lot of movement on these baits, kind of just letting them set, popping it, and just letting it set. When they do hit it, they're hammering it. So we've only fished 2 lifts today. This is the spot number 2, and we've caught some real nice fish, both spots. And like I say, when you pull into Heron Bay, hopefully my cameraman gets some good drone video today, but you'll see there are lifts all over. And you literally can come back here. You can't fish all this in one day. And there's several coves back here, so there's always a place to get out of the wind somewhat. Not that we have to battle that today. It's beautiful this morning. Oh,
Fighting.
not big, but boy, he fought like a big one. Not a 9-inch crappie, which, like I said earlier, 9 inches is what they have to be to keep them here in Ohio. Get off here.
Wonder if that's going to be the deal today. Just catch a few at each lift and then.
It could be. Well, especially a smaller lift, they may not hold the numbers.
Well, both of these ones, yeah, we pulled up. We got 3 or 4 good ones and then kind of shuts it down.
I told you this bait is all tore up, and it is. I'm not putting a new one on, so what I'm gonna do, go to the old bait pen, put a slab bite on there to try to hold the plastic bait on. I'm superstitious, I'm not taking that one off. Bait pen. And I love using these slab bites. Now, to be honest, this morning we haven't had to use them. They've just tore these crappie magnets up. But there are times, man, when it makes all the difference. Now, Wyatt, this is a lot smaller lift than we started on. And you see, we've caught a couple, and then bite is kind of completely went dead. So that's one thing. On the smaller ones, sometimes they've got good numbers, but a lot of times they won't have quite as many fish as the others. So we're going to make another flip or two. You ready to hit another one?
Let's do it.
All right.
And now the BrushPile Gear Check, sponsored by Garmin.
Hey folks, now it's time for our BrushPile gear check. You know, I finally got to shoot the show with my son today. We were using the same thing. I was using my Signature Series 10.5 foot rod. Now he was using the 8-footer, but all we was doing is flipping in between these lifts or under some of the bars on the lifts. So the 8.5 foot and the 10 foot Signature Series specifically designed for that style of fishing. As far as the line, we went with a 4-pound high-vis slime line. Now, because we were using a cork, you could use clear or whatever you want because we were looking for the cork and not the line today, but I almost always use the high-vis. So as far as the jig today, we went strictly crappie magnet. I went with the 1/32 ounce double cross jig head and then the regular crappie magnets. Now, we caught them on different colors, but I'll explain that here in a second. I like that double cross because I want that little round pink head when I use my Butler Gold. That's an odd combination for some people, but for me, it is awesome. That pink shows through there, and I don't know what it is, but it works everywhere I fished it. The other thing is, you've seen that we were using a small cork. These are the corks from Crappie Magnet. Now, this is the smallest one that they make. That's what I use. It's pegged easy, and I'll tell you what, this bright neon green, absolutely fantastic. We got started this morning when it was still kind of, not dark out, but it wasn't really sunny, and I could see this all day long, even this morning. Easy to adjust, slide it up the line, you're ready to go. I do want to talk about colors today. And Buckeye, I've used a lot of different colors at work, but today Wyatt was using a black and chartreuse that worked real well, but the color by far was this Butler Gold, especially when we had a pink jig head in there that you could see the pink through it. Butler Gold was outstanding. We caught them on Fast Lane, Killer Clat, but again, Butler Gold was the hot jig today, but they have every color you can imagine, so get what you want. Again, these little corks, fantastic, and that green I can see everywhere. So simple rig, back to the basics, but we had an absolute blast today, and that's today's BrushPile gear check. Now, on this lift here, folks, this is the third one we've hit today. This one here, you can see all the bars are out of the water. So not as much to hit on this one. I mean, you can flip on the inside and sometimes you'll catch some, but normally they like those bars to be in the water. Gives them something to hold tight to. So I won't spend quite as much time on these, but I still like, if nothing else, hitting the corner post and seeing if there's a fish in there. And there is. And not a bad one. And that's why I still want to hit those before I move on. Sorry, Wyatt, because they can still hold decent fish. Just don't spend as much time on those. Over there. The one thing I do like to do, Wyatt, like I just did there, when I'm hitting a dock or one of these, I'll try to get up under the dock where the aluminum is, because now they've got a little aluminum, but they've also got shade in there. So they've got the best of both worlds. Also made a couple casts into rocks today because, like I say, when this water really warms up, they'll get into the rock stick. Oh, look here.
Nice.
Look at there. Oh, come here. Doggone. Oh, gosh. There's another Buckeye Lake hammer. Oh. He was in the shade and I wasn't even paying attention. Joe had to yell at me and Wyatt yelled at me on that one. And that shows we're not putting any movement on it hardly at all, because that was sitting there. And he ambushed me. There you go, and just let it set for a little bit. Oh, get him, get him. Yeah.
Hog, baby.
I told you there's another hog in there. But you see what I mean? You got in that shade and bam. I'll let you stay up there.
Chicken nugget.
Folks, we got a method. I hit the shade first, get the big ones, and then Wyatt cleans them little ones out.
Had to make them look good.
Oh, what you got?
A little.
Oh, that's a decent fish. Black crappie. I think that's the first black crappie on the lifts this morning. Everything else been in the rocks and the wood. That's pretty good black.
Uh-oh.
Oh. He was on the outside of that. Oh, that's a big black.
Nice.
Ooh. Look at there. Doggone. Oh, there's a good black crappie from Buckeye. Talk about dark. There's a good one. They're all up there. Another good black crappie. Throw up further towards the rocks. Another good fish.
Yeah, I'm about to switch.
Switch. This color is just, what you got, Wyatt? Big one? Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah. Hey, don't horse him. Another good
There
one.
we go.
Daggone. There you go, boy. That's the first big white off of this lift. Everything else has been black crappie. Let's see him, boy. Oh, yeah.
Got one?
Yep. Another good looking black, man. Not as big as that one, but he's a good one. You switch colors?
I caught that last one on the black.
All right. Let him take it. You gotta let him take it. So So folks, a few minutes ago when we were heading to that small lift we fished, we passed this one and I said something about, you know, all the bars were in the water. This is going to be one we're going to hit. So we've hit a couple of these lifts where all the bars are all out of the water. So all you can hit really is the corner post. Sometimes you'll catch them inside, but not very often. This one here, when we seen it, all these bars are underwater. So now these fish have all the different cover. And you've seen we've caught several fish off this one lift now. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's show. It was a special one for me because finally, after all the years of baseball, I get to shoot one with my son. Wyatt, did you have fun?
Yeah, I had fun, and it was nice teaching you a few things about fishing today.
Yeah. Folks, what you didn't see, as soon as we were done with this show, we were getting things gathered up. I told you he's a bass fisherman. He's got the crappie lure out there, slow rolling it off the bottom. I knew he couldn't go a whole day without trying something bass fishing, but hey, we had a ball. We caught some nice fish here at Buckeye.
It was a good day.
Folks, if you're ever down this way, give Buckeye Lake a try. Springtime fishing's great. The fall is great. Beautiful scenery. It's just a great place to be. Wyatt, ready to head home?
Let's do it.
All right, folks, hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We'll be back again with BrushPile Fishing.
What is this?
You're caught down there.
Oh.
Big dummy. This is my son, Lamont. You big dummy. Wyatt,
Uh-oh.
crappie?
Uh-oh. That's
Look
a
at that
picture
big warmouth.
fish.
Big warmouth. That's typically what I would expect out of a bass fisherman trying to crappie fish. Make sure Joe gets a good zoom.
Hold on, watch out. It takes skill to catch a fish this big, folks.